and welcome to another episode of How Do I Wedding. I'm Elaina, your guide down the aisle, and today we are talking wedding guest list part 2. So today's episode we're going to explore a little more about kind of the finer details of picking those people who you're kind of on the fence about inviting, and also some ways to keep your guest list organized. So with your partner, first of all, make some ground rules. So these are for people that you're kind of on the fence about and you're not sure whether to invite or not. So you just refer to the rules and then plan. So a couple of these examples I'll give you. One of them is like if you've never met the person. I mentioned last week about how, like, for me personally, I would not want someone at my wedding who I don't know. So that could be one of your rules. Another one is if you or your partner haven't spoken to them for 3+ years. You really want people at your wedding who are going to make, the party even better. And so if, they're not really a part of your life and they haven't been for a while, then maybe they don't need to be at your wedding day. And lastly, people who you would just feel guilty, like you feel guilty if you didn't invite them, that's not a good enough reason to invite someone to your wedding, especially because remember that you're paying per head. Another one is to do it mathematically. Think cost effectiveness. I just mentioned, remember that you're paying per head. So figure out what your budget is, and then from there calculate with some of your catering choices and etc. how many people you're willing to host. Figure out how much per head that is. And then it can give you kind of an idea of how many people you would want at your wedding. 2 methods that we're going to talk about are called the AD list and the guest list spreadsheet. So the AD list, you have your A list, B list, C list, and D list in order of most important people who you absolutely couldn't not have at your wedding, through people who you're kind of on the fence about. And then as you go along in the wedding planning process, figuring out who to cut, who not to cut, it's pretty easy because then you just look at your D list and say, I'm going to cut this person, or just cut that entire section of the D part of your list. This makes it really easy for you to just kind of compartmentalize, maybe order of importance. As I said, you really want people who are just going to make your day absolutely even more magical. Another thing about the A through D list is you can also further group these people into categories, like your yoga club, co-workers, book club, and then kind of, again, you're compartmentalizing. So maybe you don't want to invite your yoga club because you only see them once a week and you're really not close to any of them. They might not be people that you want to invite to your wedding day. So second of all, and I recommend this even kind of doing in lieu, with your A through D list, is color coding your guest list spreadsheet. This should be a list on a spreadsheet in Excel of all the guests that you want to invite, so they're numbered. That makes it also really easy if you number your RSVPs or invitations, or the little reserve by card that they send back to you. That way you can just look at the number, especially if you don't really want to look at the name, you just go, and it makes it really, really easy. This can be an alternative to the A through D list, or it can just kind of be a supplement. I highly recommend keeping an actual list of all the people at your wedding. That way you can both keep track of who you want to invite, who's been invited, as well as people who say they can't make it. So make sure to tune in next week. Hit the subscribe button. We'd like to thank Brian Charles Films and Showbride for their advice, love, and support. And we'll see you next time on How Do I Wedding.